Hello everyone, my name is Elijah David, minister of the 12th Hour Apostolic Sabbatarian Congregation, Mount Zion, the 12th Hour. In the Liberty Hill, Texas, today is June 2, 2013, early receiving 24, 2017. We will start our second service on this first day of the week with a song entitled, Take the Name of Joshua With You. Take the name of Joshua with you, child of sorrow and of woe. It will joy and comfort give you. Take it in where you go. Precious name, oh how sweet. Hope of earth and joy of heaven. Precious name, oh how sweet. Hope of earth and joy of heaven. The name of Joshua as a shield from every snare. If temptations round you gather, breathe that holy name in prayer. Precious name, oh how sweet. Hope of earth and joy of heaven. Precious name, how sweet, hope of earth and joy of heaven. Oh, the precious name of Joshua, how it thrills our souls with joy. When his loving arms receive us, and his songs our tongues employ. Precious name, oh how sweet, hope of earth and joy of heaven. Precious name, oh how sweet, hope of earth and joy of heaven. At the name of Yahshua bowing, falling prostrate at his feet. King of kings of heaven will crown him when our journey is complete. Precious name, oh how sweet. Hope of earth and joy of heaven. Precious name, oh how sweet. Hope of earth and joy of heaven. Hello everyone, once again this is Elijah David. We're going to continue on now with our series on actually the 10 versions. We're reading from the 11 symbolic code number 12. Those of you that are familiar with the BT Harvest, the Shepherd Rod Leader, we're going to continue where we left off on page 22 of this 11 symbolic code number 12. And we finished up about Ezekiel 36:25-27, where it says, Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and you shall keep my judgments and do them. He's talking about when he brings them back into their own land, during Ezekiel 36:23 and 24. Alright, now we're in the land of the wilderness of the people, right now. And that wilderness of the people is in the United States, and the people are gathered into the land of Goshen, the spiritual feeding pasture for Israel when they were sojourning down in Egypt. That's where Joseph went, where he was sold as a slave, and he became the governor of Egypt. And then one day his father and the whole household were brought down from Canaan to be with Jacob the last 17 years of his father's life, Jacob. and it said that Pharaoh gave them the best part of the land of Egypt, and that was the land of Goshen. And so therefore only the children of Israel sojourning in Egypt could occupy the land of Goshen, and outside the boundary lines of that, that's where the Egyptians had to stay. Besides, the Egyptians didn't like the Israelites because the Israelites were shepherds, and they had been taught that shepherds are an abomination, so they didn't want to be around those abominable people, and so this is what caused them to separate themselves from the Israelites down in Egypt. And so, you know the rest of the story. Joseph died, Jacob died, and then new pharaohs come along that knew not Joseph and began to mistreat the Israelites, and then one day they had a mandate to be thrust out of Egypt, out of the land of bondage, out of the bondage of sin. And so they came out then. They'd actually been in bondage for 215 years under the new Pharaoh that knew not the Joseph and what he stood for as the governor of Egypt, sparing all of Egypt from the 7 years of famine, interpreting the dream of the king about the 7 years of plenty, the 7 years of famine. Joseph saved the land of Egypt from a sure devastating demise. And so now we have the land that Israel dwelt in was not their land. They came out of Canaan, the promised land, to go down in Egypt because of the drought in Joseph's time and Jacob's time. And so that spiritual Egypt, or Egypt back then, would be, its counterparts today would be the United States, geographically. Whereas Israel, the land of Israel, is the land proper where the origin of the Hebrew children began. And one day they're going to return back to that land. But first they have to be gathered into the wilderness of the people. And where would we find the prophecy on that? We go to Ezekiel 20. And we'll read you the prophecy on that. We'll start with verse 33. It says that, as I live, saith Yahweh Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. Now do you get it? The wilderness of the people today is the United States. He's going to gather them out of all countries where they've been scattered all over the world, and he's going to bring them into the wilderness here in the United States, and more preferably here in Texas. Okay. And so we have the antitypical counterpart of Egypt today. The contemporary part is the United States and Texas. So will I plead with you, saith Yahweh Elohim, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me, and I will bring you forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. Now look at this. And you shall know that I am the Yahweh thy Elohim. All right, now let's back up a little bit here in verse 37. And I will cause you to pass under the rod. Now the rod, we find that in Micah 6:9. Yahweh's voice crieth unto the city, the man of wisdom shall sheathe thy name. Hear ye the rod, and who hath appointed it? Alright, now the definition for rod is authority for Yahweh's government. And the rod is the same thing as the scepter that the shepherds used when they were herding sheep. Okay, it had a crook on it. Okay, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. What's the bond of the covenant? The bond of the covenant is bonded with the blood. Well, you can't come into the bond of the covenant with the animal blood of the Old Testament, animal sacrifices. So the only way you can come into the bond of the covenant is with the blood of Yahshua. Okay? So now when Yahshua blood takes the place of your sins after you repent of them, then he covers you with his sin, and he assesses you through the sanctuary. And lo and behold, you learn a new and living way. Hebrews 10:20. It says that is the way, that is to say, through his flesh. Hebrews 10:20. And so then you learn how by faith to come to the sanctuary by faith in the first apartment, where Yahshua ministers on a daily basis as a high priest on behalf of sinful man here on earth. And when you come at the sacred hours, more preferably at the 3rd hour of the day and the 9th hour, that's the sacred hour. That's when the pools of Bethesda were troubled. It was at those sacred hours. That's when Peter went up to the temple at the 9th hour, which was the sacred hour of the day, the second. That's where the blind man asked alms. And Peter says, gold and silver have I none, but such as I have give I unto thee, rise up and walk. Huh. Now the man can go out and work for a living. He can go out and work and earn money to buy alms with. He don't have to beg anymore because he's been healed at the sacred hour. There's power in the sacred hour, folks. So, when you cause your pass on the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, okay? And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me, I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am the Yahweh. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, go you serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if you will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. Okay. For in mine holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, okay, saith the Yahweh Elohim, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings, and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. All right, now, folks, if you, in order to understand this fully, you'd have to understand first what where is the designated holy mountain of the Yahweh, the mountain that's in the height of Israel. All right, and let's go to Isaiah chapter 2, and maybe we might get a little bit more input on that. It says at verse 1 and 2, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. What's the mountain of the Yahweh's house? That little stone that is hewn out of the mountain without hands, the mountain that Yahweh abandoned, took the little nucleus, the little stone that represented the house of David, and now that is the house of the mountain of the Yahweh. That's in Daniel 2, 44 and 45. The little stone hewn out of the mountain without hands that strikes the image on the feet and grows into a mountain fills the whole earth. That's this mountain. That's this high in the height of Israel. This here little stone that grew into a mountain, this here kingdom of David, tribe of Judah, lawgiver, Okay. But it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountain, meaning all churches worldwide, and shall be exalted above the hills, little churches worldwide, and nations shall flow unto it. Unto what? This high exalted mountain. Now, in Micah 4, it gives us a little bit more insight because it collaborates with Isaiah 2. And we might just turn quickly and read that. It says, verse 1, but in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. It says virtually the same thing as Isaiah 2. And many nations shall come and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Yahweh, and unto the house of Elohim of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths, for the law shall go forth of the Zion. But what Zion? Mount Zion for 12th hour, which we're in right now. That's the one that we're placed in charge of in its little stone phase, in its infancy, in the little mustard seed phase of it. Matthew 13:31, the little mustard. It said the kingdom of heaven is like unto a grain of mustard seed. Okay? And the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. Okay? And it says, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into the plowshares and their spears into the pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And it's wonderful. We finally come to the place in Earth's history where the people finally settle down and learn war no more. Why? Because all the war makers and the warmongers have all consumed and destroyed themselves for one thing. They're not even around anymore. So all that's left now is just the righteous people that come together and agree that the only peaceful solution to this is not to learn war anymore. Okay? Isn't that wonderful? Now, we go to, actually let's just go ahead and get into our main study here with 11 symbolic code number 12 about the kingdom of heaven is likened unto the 10 virgins. We're going to call this, I guess, probably, well, let's just call it maybe part 4. And so, we're on page 22. It says, since all this takes place when Elohim gathers his people from among the heathen, then no one can dodge the fact that unless we go into the land where the cleansing will take place, we will not be cleansed and we will not receive the new heart and Elohim spirit. Okay. Well, how about before you get into the land? I just read to you there in Ezekiel 20. It says he's going to bring you into the wilderness of people, into the wilderness of Egypt. Yeah. Egypt is not an Israel. And he says he's going to plead with you there, and he's going to cause you to pass under the rod and bring you into the bond of the covenant, and then he's going to purge out the rebels from among you there. And every time you purge out the rebels, you purify the camp. When you purge out rebels, you purify the camp. Now, think about it. Joshua crossed over into the promised land. And everything seemingly is okay. He had his first victory at Jericho. And he decided to go up for his second victory against the little town of Ai. And lo and behold, he suffered defeat. Yahweh said, up off your face, Joshua. There's sin in the camp. And so Joshua had to cast lots, and he had to sanctify himself and find out who was when it brought the sin in the camp, and it was Achan and his family. Okay. So it says when Achan was taken out and stoned and burned, and all his household, see, that purified Israel. That sanctified it. When Judas was purged out of it at the Last Supper, it says that the disciples and the 11 disciples then were purified, that they got rid of the sinner in the camp. So, you don't have to wait to get into the land of Israel to be sanctified and purified, even though scriptures seem to allude to that. But I'll tell you this right now, when it says that he'll bring you into the land and sanctify and purify you, Well, I can attest to that. I was in the wilderness of the people for 32 years in Trumpet, Texas. In the wilderness in a sinful kingdom. We were never purified down there for 32 years. Yet we followed the sanctuary system according to the letter of the law. Not according to the Spirit, but according to the letter. You had to follow it according to the Spirit to be sanctified and purified. So there was a separation taking place down there. There was a judgment call. 1 Peter 4:17. Judgment was first began at the house of Yahweh. Ezekiel 9:6. At the ancient men before the house. So that took place 2,000 years coming. And lo and behold, instead of leaving us there to continue on our work, Yahshua took us by the hand and led us out there, and he brought us about 400 miles due east, and here we are in the land where he has designated for us to move to. And this is where he was sanctify and purify the sons of Levi from. That means that he will do an investigative work for the house of Israel, where the 144,000 are at, and he will send a purified message among them that will purify them, and he will bring forth then a purified Israel, 12 tribes restored, 144,000. After we have been taken from among the heathen, Elohim will sprinkle clean water upon us to cleanse it. By this, we are to understand that until Elohim gathers us from among the heathen, we cannot be clean. After he cleanses us, we will be without spot. Well, when he starts the judgment in the church, he puts the sheep on the right and the goats on the left. He separates them. That's purifying the sheep. Okay, and the church in the sinful kingdom. Okay. So he says that this takes place in the judgment time. We must remember it is a cleansing time as well as a separating time. The judgment for the living takes place when the Elohim cleanses his people from all their filthiness and puts within them his spirit and hearts of flesh. For this work is to be done for his people after Elohim has returned them unto their own land. For this chapter tells us that we will never be clean until Elohim gathers us from all the heathen and makes us what we ought to be. For the devil, however, wants to convince us that there is to be neither a land of which the Elohim's people are to go, nor a kingdom. Let us read further. Ezekiel 36:28. And you shall dwell in the land that I gave unto your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim. For the land that the Elohim gave unto our fathers is the Palestine. Perhaps the children of Israel were dispersed because, he said, the children of Israel were dispersed. His name was profaned. And to show that he indeed rules over the earth and the people, he will gather out his people from the nation and set them right back in their own land and sanctify himself and them. Ezekiel 36:29 and 30. And I will also save you from all your uncleanness, and I will call for the corn, and I will increase it and lay no famine upon you, and I will multiply the fruit of the tree and the increase of the field. Okay, now it says that you shall receive no more reproach of the famine among the heathen. Now we're in the land of famine and pestilence. We're in the land of vast destruction, of tornadoes, earthquakes, and just mass devastation practically every day. We have hurricanes, and we have just every devastation in the world. People don't realize that these devastations can be orchestrated and man-made, and which man has been doing that for quite a few years now. Sometime we'll talk about how they do that. Okay, let's continue now. See, if the land of our fathers in this chapter remains heaven, there would be no heathen in the existence to witness any more reproach of the famine. And thus the last clause of Ezekiel 36:30 would be unnecessary and meaningless. Ezekiel 36:31. Then shall ye remember your own evil ways, and your doings that were not good, and shall loathe yourselves in your own sight, for your iniquities and for your abominations. After Elohim has returned his people unto their own land, and changed their hearts and put within them his spirit, then will they hate their own evil doings. They will be genuinely sorry for them. This is the revival and reformation which Elohim calls for, and which he himself will work in his people. Now, let us turn unto the next chapter. Now, I want to connect, though, this revival and reformation. V.T. Hollis says this is a revival and reformation, this work of this Ezekiel 36, of bringing his people back in their own land and creating a clean heart and cleansing them from all their uncleanness. Okay, now we got Isaiah, Malachi, chapter 4, and we have Elijah's message for today. And this is a revival and reformation that is talked about by this latter-day Elijah. He says, behold, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Yahweh of the host, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of the Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And you shall tread down the wicked, for there shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Yahweh of the host. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel, with the statutes and judgments. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Yahweh. And people look at me and they say, oh, so you're this Elijah. And I says, well, yes I am. They said, how can you prove it? Because I'm interpreting the prophecies that brings the revival and reformation that this Elijah brings. And so I just got through giving you a prophecy in Ezekiel 36 that this Elijah brings. And when this Elijah comes with this revival and reformation message, guess what it's going to do? It's going to be power-filled. It's going to be in such a way that this power-filled message can even resurrect people from the grave. That's how powerful this Elijah's message is going to be in these last days. Well, you begin to understand now why this has to happen, why we have to send this latter-day Elijah. Okay. It says, and he shall turn the hearts of the fathers unto the children, and the hearts of the children unto their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Now, we haven't seen this aspect of the Elijah's message in these last days. But it's the last message to the world. And it comes in the 12th parabolic hour. Now, John the Baptist was the last messenger to ancient Israel, or to the Pharisees of the cross and the Sadducees, before Yahshua made his appearance to bring them to their end. Okay? So there was an end of the world at that time, the end of the Old Testament world, closing out with the Pharisees in charge of the temple. Yahshua brought them to their end. Okay, so the latter-day Elijah comes and brings this world to its end by interpreting the prophecies that point up one event succeeding the other in timely order. And so when you've got a prophet on the scene that's interpreting fulfillment of prophecies and putting them in their proper places, with names, faces, places, and dates, then you have a powerful messenger. Okay? And that would be the designated latter-day Elijah. Actually, it will be antithetical David in the spirit and power of Elijah, just like John the Baptist in his day was typical Elijah in his day. The forerunner of Yahshua. Well, it's the same thing today. When Elijah gets through announcing the prophecies that are necessary for the entrance of Yahshua the second time, then you will know then that the typical Elijah has come. It's to prepare the way for the Messiah to come again. Okay. And that's the reason why he purifies the sons of Levi, and that's the reason why he has a purified message. And that's the only thing that will turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children and the children back to their fathers. Unless he comes and smash the earth with the curse. That you have a purified message that will sanctify, purify the people, that will allow them then to enter into the ark of safety, which is the kingdom of heaven here on earth, which is the antitypical kingdom of the David that is just now being set up in its infancy. All right, now, as we continue to read from 11 Symbolic Code, number 12, we take up now Ezekiel 37, 15 to 24. For the word of the Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel his companions. Okay, and take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companion, and join them one to another. And to one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. Okay, now Ezekiel is told to join these two sticks together. And then Yahweh tells him that they're to be one in your hand. Now Ezekiel made this prophecy some 500 years before the cross. You might say about 2,500 years ago. Ezekiel's dead and gone. But the prophecy has to meet its fulfillment here in the end time. Somebody is literally to come and unfold these prophecies that will show how Yahweh is going to take the 10 tribes of Israel in the north and gather them to the 2 tribes of Judah and Benjamin in the south and join them together into one great nation. So you have to have then the latter day Elijah with the handle on this prophecy, have been able to truly interpret it and to show how this is done in the end time, here in this 12th parabolic round. That's the hour that Ezekiel prophesied for. It was the last hour in the end time, in the latter days. So this Son of Man that is commanded to take these 2 sticks then would have to be the Elijah David. And the only way Elijah David can do it is by showing how the prophecies meet their fulfillment and give a true interpretation of them and show how this is done. How spiritual Israel with the 10 tribes are gathered, and how they're gathered and joined with the Judah, the 2 tribes. Judah and Benjamin has already been gathered. I represent the tribe of Judah as antitypical David. Okay? And so I have the prophecies on when Judah came back into focus here in the last days. I give you a timeline. I give you a prophetic timeline. Ezekiel 4. They introduced Judah in these last days. And Ezekiel is a latter-day gospel prophet for the 12th hour. So all of his prophecies, over 48 chapters, has to do with the 12th hour. People don't realize it. But all of his prophecies will meet its fulfillment here in the 12th parabolic hour that started in 2002 at the Kermit, Texas, when they closed out Gilead Center. And the 3rd feeding pasture for the Adventists. You have 3 feeding pastures for Adventists, Bashan, Carmel, and Gilead. Bashan being the Adventist, Carmel being the Shepherd Rod from 1930 to 1970, and Gilead being the branch Davidian from 1970, and actually technically they had a 40-year run to 2010. Just like the Rod had a 40-year run from 1930 to 70, and just like Bashan the high hill that represented the Adventist Church had a 40-year run from 1850 to 1890 in prophetic time. How do I know that? 1850 is the birth of the testimony. 1890 was the first test that the Adventists had to accept a new message from new messengers, Jones and Wagner, with the message righteousness by faith. Told that that was a message from that the angel of Revelation 18:1 got brought down to introduce to them. And if they accepted it, then they would pass into the second feeding pasture, Carmel, the shepherd rock. If they rejected it, so they had a 40-year fast for Judah from 1890 to 1930, and then Judah emerged in 1930 as the lawgiver, as the rod that speaks, authority for Yahweh's government, and then began to restore the law of Moses, introducing all the restoration of the feast days and the whole sanctuary system to be restored completely. It took 40 years to teach the message that would restore the sanctuary. Because at the end of that 40 years, in 1970, the Branch Davidian, headed up by Brother Stephen Johnson at Kermit, Texas, then restored the sanctuary from all the information that had been laid down before his time. And he restored that in 1970 with the creation calendar, put us back on true creation time. So you folks out there in the world, you want to know how to get back on true creation time? Then you can contact me, because we are publishing that creation calendar to this day. It's been published for 43 years, since 1970. Puts you back on true creation time. I'm talking about the creation time that goes back to the first chapter of Genesis, the first week of creation. Okay, now we are at the place now where we are now calling for a harvest soon to start taking place of the first fruits, 144,000. They will come forth because they will have a calendar. They will have a creation calendar. More preferably, it would be ours. Ours is the most accurate calendar in the world. And it will be something that the whole world from here on in will be harvested by. They'll be harvested by the timetable on creation calendar. That's something else we'll explain to you later, how that works. Okay, now, it says there in Ezekiel 37:15-24, the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick. The son of man translates into Elijah, Malachi 4:5. This is the son of man that has to identify the 12 tribes. I've already told you that. Now, let us continue on. It says that for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companion, and join them one and to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. So, Elijah David, with the timeline on the prophecy and the true interpretation of it, showing when the time will come forth that this will happen, then he will be in charge of the prophecy, and he will be the one to announce the time when these 12 tribes are joined back together. He'll give you the date and hour when this is to happen. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I will take the stick of the Joseph, which is in the hand of the Ephraim, and the tribes of the Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. Okay. Now it says earlier there be one in thine hand, when this here antithetical Ezekielite, which is the antithetical Elijah, or Elijah David. And now he says there's going to be one in mine hand. Okay. And the sticks whereon thou ridest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. That's talking about they're going to be in the hands of this Elijah David. And saying to them, Thus saith the Yahweh Elohim, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king unto them all, and there shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. That's right here, this 12,000. This is pending right now. Folks, this is looming on the horizon. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. And I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim, and David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. Now, what did I just read? Did we just mention David here? It says, and so shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim, and David my servant, Elijah David, shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. Now, folks, you can believe me or not, but the prophecies are going to stand. These prophecies are going to meet their fulfillment in timely fashion, in order. And you may not accept and believe me, but you'll be the prophecies when they come to pass. And then you'll know for a certainty that the messenger behind them is probably a true messenger. For the ancient kingdoms of the Judah and Israel were dispersed. Now, however, Yahweh says that he will bring them back into their own land, and join them into the one kingdom where he will sanctify himself in them. Now, why does he have to join the two great kingdoms back together? The 10 tribes of Israel and the 2 tribes of Judah? It's so that he can be sanctified in them. He can't be sanctified in them when they're separated. There's got to be rebels purged out from among the 10 tribes. There's got to be rebels purged out from the 2 tribes. He's just only going to bring a remnant out of each of those 2. And that remnant is 144,000. There's more than 144,000 in the 12 tribes of Israel today together, I'll tell you that. Only those that can be purified and sanctified and made to sit upon thrones to be his lawgivers, to be his executioners of his law. And they're with the title of prophet, priest, and king. You have to have all 3 of those titles to be able to execute his law in these last days. That's quite a high calling and a high order, folks. That's quite a high commission. That is the highest in this world. When the Elohim does this with his people, the heathen will learn who the Elohim is and what are his purposes in the earth. I believe that the subject of the kingdom is one of the plainest of all subjects. In fact, the scriptures dealing with it actually need no interpretation. If we believe what the scripture says, for it plainly states just what it means, and is in the perfect harmony throughout its prophecies, parables, and symbols. For the only trouble there could be is that we have put an erroneous idea into our minds that there is to be no kingdom of the Elohim on the earth before his second coming. Okay? And that idea has to be taken out, for it is unscriptural. For the Daniel 2 talks of the kingdom of the Elohim, saying that it shall not be left unto other people, but it will stand forever and will grow and fill the whole earth. After it strikes that image on the feet, that is, in Daniel 2:44 and 45. Though there will be only 144,000 cut by the Elohim's own might and taken to Mount Zion. That's talking about remnant, purified leadership. Get them installed and set up, and then they go get their brethren from all over the world. You go to Isaiah 66, read 16 throughout the rest of that chapter, and you'll find out that the children of Israel, those that escaped out of the first judgment, are sanctified, purified, and made white, and then they are then have the qualifications for going and getting their bread in a clean vessel and bringing to this holy mountain. Of the mountain of the house of Yahweh, it's established in the top of all the mountains, Isaiah 2 and Micah 4. Though there will be only 144,000 cut by the Elohim's own might and taken unto the Mount Zion, yet they, as the servants and as the first fruits, Revelation 7, 1-8, and Revelation 14, 1-5, are together in the great multitude which no man could number, of the Revelation 7, 9, and 10. Thus will they enlarge the kingdom. This is the everlasting kingdom of the David here on, which is called the kingdom of heaven here on earth. This is that same kingdom that Yahshua taught his disciples in their prayer. He taught them how to pray. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In the earth as it is in heaven. What kingdom is that? That's the kingdom of David. Now, all you have to do is go back to the Old Testament. Go back to Samuel. Go back to the Chronicles. Go back to 1st and 2nd Kings. And read about Yahweh making a covenant with David, that he'd establish his house forever. Because it's in David's heart to build Yahweh a house here on earth. Yahweh says, because it's in your heart, he says, I'm going to allow it to be done. Your son is going to build it, and he's going to establish it as the house of the Yahweh here on earth. And it's going to be also established as the house of David. Okay? And it's going to be called the everlasting kingdom of heaven. Okay? Now it says, if we would be among the wise virgins, we will not fight against the Elohim setting up his kingdom, but rather we will study about it, and thus procure the extra oil. We will work for it, and we will also certainly, with understanding, pray as Yahshua himself taught us to pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in the earth as it is in heaven. Okay. Now, it says that thus saith Yahweh, I will cause the captivity of the Judah and the captivity of Israel to return, and will build them as at the first. And I will cleanse them from all their iniquity whereby they have sinned against me, and I will pardon all their iniquity whereby they have sinned and whereby they have transgressed against me. And it shall come to pass, and it shall be to me a name of the joy, a praise and an honor before all the nations of the earth. And they shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto it. Thus saith Yahweh again, there shall be heard in this place, which you say, shall be desolate without man and without beast, even in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of the Jerusalem that are desolate, without man and without inhabitant, and without beast, and the voice of the joy, and the voice of the gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, praise the Yahweh of the host, for the Yahweh is good, for his mercy endureth forever, and of them that shall bring the sacrifice of praise into the house of the Yahweh. And what's the house of the Yahweh? Yahweh? It's the house of David. Now John for 12,000, starting with here in Liberty Hill, Texas. For I will cause to return the captivity of the land, as at the first saith the Yahweh. Okay, let's continue. Thus saith the Yahweh of hosts, again in this place, which is desolate without man and without beast. Okay. And in all the cities thereof shall be an habitation of shepherds causing their flocks to lie down. Now folks, Israel is going to be returned back to its original status of old. Okay, it says in the cities of the Vale, and in the cities of the south, and in the land of the Benjamin. Okay. And in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of the Judah, shall the flocks pass again under the hands of him that tilleth them, saith the Yahweh. Behold, the days come, saith the Yahweh, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised unto the house of Israel. and unto the house of Judah, that's the house of David. In those days and at that time, God calls a branch of the righteousness, to grow up unto David. That's Jeremiah 23:5. And he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved. That's the house of David first, the lawgiver. And Jerusalem shall dwell safely, and this is the name wherewith she shall be called, Yahshua, or righteousness, Jeremiah 33:2 and 7-16. For the Elohim's love runneth faster than our feet, to meet us stealing back unto him in peace, and kisses down our shame, nay, and puts on the best robe, bidding angels bring it forth. Today, if you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. True, we are establishing our headquarters on this mount that is found in the prophecy, but our stay here shall be very short, for he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because the short work will the Yahweh do make upon the earth, Romans 9:28. Now, Viti Hadav is talking about transferring from this earth to heaven. But I dare say that earth in prophecy means the United States. And this is where this prophecy is unfolding, taking place at. And so where it says, a short work will he make upon the earth. Well, folks, now that we've entered into the great time of trouble, Daniel 12:1, now that we have a president that is fast fulfilling the prophecies of bringing the United States to a close, coming in and completely suspending the Constitution, setting up military law, which we call martial law, the Admiralty flag, which is flown over this land now, which is the flag of England. Okay, it's a maritime flag with a gold fringe around it. It's not the Unity States of the America flag that our forefathers founded this country upon. So you say, well, how did this all happen to the United States? Well, it's been a gradual eroding process, starting at our Constitutional Convention in 1787, when we had two shadow governments there establishing the Constitution of the United States. Most of those that signed the Constitution were from the shadow government, meaning invisible government, meaning that they represented the maritime law, the law of the sea. Benjamin Franklin was one of them, French lawyer, and the beat goes on. Now I said it might be interesting to Elder G to know that the naming of our camp, Mount Carmel Center, came about in the same way as the naming of our publications as the Shepherd's Rock. For we did not know beforehand that it was in the prophecy until after our attention was called to Micah 7:14 and Amos 1:2. In the prophecy of the Amos we read, for the Yahweh will roar out from the Zion, and utter his voice from the Jerusalem, and the habitation of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither, Amos 1:2. With a few comments on the above scriptures, any Bible student will recognize at a glance that it applies unto the time of the end, as explained by the Gospel prophet. Now, as I was saying earlier, that it says, E.T. Hall was talking about the headquarters for Mount Carmel, because he says, Australia's going to be short here, he said. Yeah, it's going to be short here in the United States, because earth and prophecy represents the United States. It's the wilderness of the people. You can read Revelation 17 on that. Scarlet-colored beast seen in the wilderness. You can read Revelation 13, where the little two-horned beast seen coming up in the earth, out of the sea. I mean, he came up in the earth, not out of the sea. The leopard-like beast came out of the sea, Revelation 13, 1 and 2. But the little two-horned beast came up in the earth, the United States. The leopard-like beast came from the old country, the Vatican. He came to this country, and he set up his headquarters for the Second Vatican at Washington, D.C. Revelation 13. The little two-horned beast represents the Democratic Republican Party that was formed after this government was set up in this country. And then the scarlet-colored beast that comes on Revelation 17 represents the last beast in the order of the seven. And it's the one that an image is made from. I mean, that's the image made to that first beast, or that fourth beast that Daniel had in his vision, which was pagan Rome. And that scarlet-colored beast in Revelation 17 is the image to that beast, meaning duplicating Rome and what her intent is to do again today. And that is to put the mark of the beast in force and put it in order and cause everybody to bow down to it. Okay, it says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Yahweh's house shall be established on the top of the mountains and shall be exalted by the hills, for out of Zion shall go forth the law. This is Mount Zion, the 12th hour, and this is Elijah David announcing this law, because we have the creation calendar, we have the sanctuary completely restored. We show you how to teach the laws of the sanctuary, which is the laws of Yahshua. Believe it or not, in John 15:10 it says that Yahshua says, if you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I've kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. The Father's commandments are the 10. Yahshua's commandments are the commandments of the sanctuary. So, now, it says the law is going to go forth from Zion. It's going to go forth from the house of David, from Judah, the lawgiver. And it starts right here in the Liberty Hill, Texas, because the law has to go forth here in the United States from its headquarters, Liberty Hill, Texas, Mount Zion, the 12th hour. It has to do its mighty work in the earth, and if you want to know the prophecy that fits into this mighty work that has to be done in the United States in these last days, read the whole chapter of Jeremiah 23. And then when you want to read about what is to take place in the land of Israel, as far as executing judgment in that land, read Jeremiah 33. Okay. There's other prophecies in the Bible that also tells what to do. Well, this brings a close to our study for this hour. You can contact us at the 11th hour. Call on us number 11. Click on our audio archives here, this message and more. We're going to close now with a song entitled Leaning on the Everlasting Arm. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arm. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arm. Leaning, safe and secure from all harm. Leaning on the everlasting arm. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arm. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arm. Leaning, safe and secure from all harm. Leaning on the everlasting arm. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arm. I have blessed peace with my Yahshua.